People look at stories through different lenses. I have my own personal take on some of these trending issues. Hi, I'm Mariah Ramharack and welcome to In Case You Missed It.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of In Case You Missed It. What a week it's been in the world of sport. A new era began for the West Indies with the appointment of captain Nicholas Pooran. Jamaica's Reggae Girlz, in no uncertain terms, expressed their dissatisfaction with head coach Vin Blaine. And pep. What's next for Manchester City after that crushing loss to Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-final? As per usual, we are here to break down these major developments just for you. Glad you could join us. Let's begin with the appointment of Pooran as West Indies white ball captain. This appointment did not come as a surprise to most, and maybe that's why it did not cause too much uproar. Some of you in the West Indies fan base had some interesting thoughts on who should be captain. I heard calls for Hetmyer, the return of Jason Holder to the post, Craig Brathwaite and Jermaine Blackwood. If we are honest though, this choice was always the likely one. The 26-year-old has been the vice-captain in white ball cricket for the last year, with Pollard leading the side. In Pollard's absence, Pooran led the team to a 4-1 T20 International Series win against Australia at home ahead of the T20 World Cup last year. Overall, he has led West Indies in 10 internationals, 8 T20s and 2 ODIs, winning 4 and losing 6. There are some who argue that despite these cameos, CWI could have considered a more experienced player to lead the team. For them, players like Holder and Hetmyer should have been considered. In the case of Holder, it was always unlikely that CWI would go back to the all-rounder just a few years after removing him from the post. Hetmyer is a successful former captain of the youth team. Yes, but we must ask seriously ourselves if that sense of responsibility and leadership has filtered through to his adult life. Well, you tell me. I will say that he has failed a fitness test, the very basic and well-known criteria the team requires for selection, on 3 separate occasions. If you are a leader responsible for an entire team, would it not be logical to assume that you would show that you can first of all be responsible for yourself? Let's leave it at that. The other concerns some have for Pooran is the fear that the captaincy can burden the young player and negatively impact his performance. It has happened before. But from what I've seen, leadership can either overwhelm a player or motivate them to lead by example. For all our sakes, we hope in this case it's the latter, but only time will tell. The Jamaica Football Federation President, Michael Ricketts, says all World Cup qualifying final round preparations for the national senior women's team have been pushed back until the coaching situation with Vin Blaine is resolved. Earlier this week, reports surfaced that the players sent an 18-point letter to the JFF requesting the removal of Blaine 5 months into his tenure. The letter pointed to issues with coaching, communication and organization as some of the key issues. What an awful situation for the JFF. On one hand, it could certainly make the organization look weak if the players simply demanded the coach be removed and it leads to him being fired. A coach that was hired by the JFF's own technical committee. Surely one would have to question who is in charge. On the other hand, having the signature of that many senior team members on a letter is not something that can be ignored. Inaction or dismissing their concerns would surely impact their performance and, as such, sabotage the country's chances of making the World Cup. Blaine has pointed to outside influences who wanted him out of his position after his appointment in December following the suspension of Hubert Busby Jr., who is under investigation by FIFA for allegations of sexual misconduct. The coach had previously indicated that he would make a decision on his future in a few weeks. Even if he steps down or is relieved of his duties, we have to consider the timing. It is clear the Reggae Girlz cannot afford any delays in their preparations. Bringing in a new coaching staff at this point in the campaign could mean starting all over again. As we saw with the men's team and coach Theodore Whitmore, that does not always work well. So the Champions League now, it has been decided that Liverpool is set to face Real Madrid in a mouth-watering clash. But surely you have to feel for Manchester City and manager Pep Guardiola, who were just minutes away from making it to an all-English final. Now, Pep has won the title twice before with Barcelona, but can't seem to find his way back to the promised land with a City squad that is one of the best in the world. Why do you think that is? Well, hats off to Madrid, though. They have earned the title of comeback kings. In case you forgot, and I know you didn't, they turned the tie against Manchester City around, having also stunned Paris and survived an onslaught from holeless Chelsea. Nothing is beyond them. Karim Benzema is in the form of his life, and he has proper support from Vinicius Jr., Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. You would have to be living on another planet to rule out the 13-time winners, but Liverpool will be the best team they have faced all season. Well, that's it for this week's episode. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on this week's topics. You have 3 to choose from. Stay safe. Goodbye for now.